Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really great to put a face to a name because we have been following obviously your work over the last couple of years, but more recently also the reports that you've been writing for the industry. So before we jump into the reports, do you want to just introduce yourself, the work that you do? You're part of a company called Hotel Solutions, and our paths have crossed in the past because you've also been involved in hotel studies and also investment opportunities pre-pandemic. And yesterday, when we were talking on email, I also found out that you're part of TMI in the East Midlands group for the Tourism Management Institute. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, some of your background and what you've been involved in.
Okay. So my background is hotelier. That's where I started off many years ago. Running hotels in the UK, and then I moved into hotel consultancy, and then I've been working in tourism in Lincolnshire for it's about 30 years now. I started off at the East Midlands Tourist Board. That's what brought me to Lincoln in 1988, and I was the regional tourism development manager for 9 years until the tourist boards folded. So I don't know whether any of the audience will remember me in that role, but I think a lot of the people have now long retired a long time ago. But I think for the last 23 years, I've been running Hotel Solutions, and we focus on working with local authorities, destination management organisations, helping them to understand and realise the potential for hotel and visitor accommodation development in their area. So a lot of it's quite strategic, a lot of it's informing planning policy, or it's informing interventions from the public sector to support accommodation development. But when the pandemic hit and when we went into the first lockdown in March, that business pretty much collapsed. So I had to have a rethink, what was I going to do? And I felt really that I wanted to pivot more towards helping local authorities and DMOs to support the accommodation sector through the crisis. I could see the issues and felt that I could do something. So I've spent quite a lot of time over the last year just monitoring the research that's coming out, the commentary, how the hotel and visitor accommodation sector has been affected, and also trying to find the positives, I think, because there are positives, and I think it's important in a crisis that you do look forward and you try and find those positives. So, and hopefully that's what we can talk about this morning. But yeah, that's sort of the reason why I've done that, and I think it's been well received. I've had quite a lot of good feedback. So yeah.
And I think also what's really interesting about your reports is it puts into context what's happening elsewhere. And I think that throughout the whole pandemic, with lockdown, and especially as business leaders managing teams and having to answer questions that we don't always know the right answer to, I think one of the really good things that your report does is actually put into context what's happening in a local area by pulling on data and research and even anecdotal feedback from other areas. So what is how far does your reach go in terms of your report? Where are you pulling your information from?
It was nationwide. Well, even international. Mostly it's various reports that I'm picking up that are coming out. I mean, I subscribe to loads of different sort of tourism and hospitality journals. So it's stuff that's being reported in those. And what I felt is there was actually so much information out there, and I wanted to just try and pull it together into hopefully a readable format, so to try and summarize things and give people links if they want to find out more and read the full reports. But actually there's so much research that's being done, some of it commissioned nationally, some of it's locally, and sometimes it's just things that an individual DMO has done, a survey they've done of their members, and actually it all contributes. It's all in the melting pot. It contributes to the story, and different things coming out. But actually, generally, I think everything seems to be saying the same sorts of things. Everything I'm reading is coming. I'm seeing the same messages coming through from the different research and the different reports I'm reading.
And this is a great opportunity to maybe dig a little bit deeper into your current report. So I've got your current report in front of me, and this is also available. First of all, is it free? Can anybody access it?
Yeah, it's free. I know you've put it on your website and on your newsletters. It's on my website on hotelsolutions.org.uk, or if anybody just wants to Google Hotel Solutions, you'll find us. You should come up. So it's free there. and there's the previous 7 if anybody wants to read all 7 of them, all 8 of them. But yeah, there's the stuff going back. And I actually did an initial report back in May, which I looked at last night, and actually some of the things that I was saying then are still valid, I think.
And how often do you do them?
Try and do them about every month. Depends if it depends on how quickly I've got enough information coming through. But it's surprisingly how quickly new stuff comes through. So I've probably got enough. The last one was January, wasn't it? And I've probably got enough now to do another one. So
February.
Probably end of February, early March, I'll do another one.
Or we'll get you back on for that one. So if it's okay, let's jump into some of the predictions that you've got. So you in the report, you bullet point on the first page some of the points that kind of come through as key trends across the document. And I think, again, some of these are common sense and others are kind of interesting advances that we need to look out for. So ones that I've picked out is this idea around a strong recovery around a staycation. Now, there's an element of common sense to that, obviously, with travel restrictions, where we are now, confusion, what's happening with that. But the bit that that I was looking into in particular was the reference to rural and coastal destinations for summer, assuming that lockdowns are lifting. Have you got any other thoughts about that, where that kind of insight's coming from, and how you think a destination like Lincolnshire and business owners in Lincolnshire should be sort of utilising that information to their advantage when they're planning for what 2021 might look like?
Okay. I think it probably comes back from the experience we had last summer. So as soon as I think it was the 4th of July when the lockdown restrictions were lifted, and actually there was this huge pent-up demand for people just desperate to get away and have a change of scene. So certainly by the time we got to August and September, rural and coastal destinations were absolutely way ahead, and a lot of hotels, accommodation businesses were reporting record occupancy levels and rates as well. So prices went up as well. So there's that huge demand, and it's logical that we're going to see the same this year. Once restrictions are lifted, I think we're in a situation at the moment where the consumer confidence about travelling and going away on holidays and breaks is quite low, really, until probably May. I think there's a question mark about Easter, whether there will be Easter breaks. But assuming that we're into sort of restrictions are lifted by June, July, then I think we will see this really strong boom. And we're already seeing that. I'm seeing there's a surge in bookings. So holiday cottage operators, coach holiday companies, glamping sites, they're all reporting that they're already fully booked for
really
July, August, and even into September. And if you try and book a holiday cottage in a popular destination, you'll really struggle at the moment.
Well, that brings me on to my next point. Actually, are those bookings coming through sort of those honeypot popular destinations? Is that a trend that's perhaps being seen with people looking for other areas that might not be so densely populated or popular?
Well, yes, I think there's two aspects to that, and we did see this last year. So the honeypot destinations will probably fill up quickest. But then what we saw last year is that people were then interested in lots of different places, and some people were seeking those out, preferring quieter locations to the popular ones. So if you recall some of the images that we saw of Cornish beaches last summer being absolutely packed. So if you were at all concerned about catching COVID-19 or wanted somewhere that was quieter and safer, then you would opt for less popular destinations. So I think that's where somewhere like Lincolnshire, obviously the coast is going to be heaving, I would have thought, in the summer, and probably was last summer. But some of the quieter locations have got that opportunity to capitalise on that opportunity this year.
And that kind of also in your report, you've spoken again about the importance of consumer confidence. And I know that last year, before that opening in July, Visit England announced their Good to Go scheme, which was the industry standard. And that was then followed up by the Know Before You Go marketing campaign. So, even though we've had a year of COVID restrictions and COVID education, I think there is still a need for businesses to demonstrate that they're COVID secure and they're taking it seriously around that confidence element.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's still coming through, that consumers are still very cautious about traveling again, and they want reassurance that the places that they're going to stay in are safe and clean and COVID safe. There was some research, I can't remember the source of it, but it was saying that the key things that people wanted to see, they wanted to see information on people's websites about the safety measures that accommodation businesses have taken to make sure that they're safe. They want, when they get there, they want sort of clear information, clear signs, clear directions. But interestingly, they also want, they still want the personal service, they want the professional approach, and they want reassurance that accommodation businesses, owners and their staff are actually taking all of this seriously. And I think it's also, so it's important that accommodation businesses have got information on the websites that they are participating in schemes like Good to Go, or there's the AA COVID-19 scheme. There's lots of schemes around, but also including information on the websites about actually what they've done, and reassurance that people are going to be safe when they're staying with them.
And this leads me on to the next bit that I saw in your report, which I thought was really, really interesting, is how much demand there was. I think there's a paragraph in your report about how much mobile devices are being used for bookings, and therefore how important it is to make sure that you've got a web optimized website, and that, as you just said, all that right information is on there. So, you know, what are the trends telling us as business owners about how people are looking and planning holidays using technology, and, you know, how again should we be approaching that as we open?
I mean, I think what's happened, COVID-19, it's really accelerated the trend that we were seeing anyway, of this sort of move to online digital communication. You know, people in lockdown, they've got used to doing a lot more things online, they're much more comfortable with using the technology. So basically everything's gone digital now. So really, any accommodation business, it really needs to be looking at its sort of digital marketing, its website. You need a great website, and that's your shop window. So you need great photography, good design, really good information, online booking. So you've got to make that process of looking and booking as seamless as possible for the guest. But interestingly, the latest information, as you just touched on, really is that there's also this trend towards looking and booking from mobile devices. So really important to make sure that website is optimized for use from a mobile phone, because that's the way things are going, and I can only see that increasing. So yeah, and linked to that, social media, using social media marketing. So all of that, really important to be looking at that, and in many ways the lockdown is a really good opportunity to think about that, to perhaps upskill yourself in terms of digital marketing. I know you've been doing various digital marketing courses, and there's other things around, but making sure that as business owners that you're switched on in terms of digital marketing, but also that you've got your staff properly trained to do that all effectively. So it is a good opportunity to look at that and to really get geared up, ready for the bounce back when it comes in the summer.
And what you were saying about customer service, also you've mentioned that as well, customer service around cancellations, and understanding that, you know, things are outside of people's control. If they make bookings in good faith, then obviously, you know, sometimes as business owners we have to understand the customer service side of them making cancellations. How important is that still in the phase that we're in now?
I think the research has shown that that's really important, that customers are looking for reassurance that because of the virus, if it continues and they can't take up the holiday or the break that they've booked, they want reassurance that they can get the money back, or that the booking can be moved, or they can get a voucher. I think generally people are looking for free cancellation. And the better quality companies, they're all offering that. And I think if you don't offer it, then people are going to think twice about booking. They're not going to want to do that. I mean, obviously, there are other things. If it's nothing to do with COVID-19, then people can possibly claim through the travel insurance. So it's, you know, there is some emphasis on the customers and the guests to make sure that they're covering themselves through travel insurance, but they are looking for that reassurance that they will be able to get the money back if because of COVID-19 they can't travel.
And I suppose that sort of all comes back into good customer service, great personable experiences, and strong marketing messages about how approachable, you know, business owners are, and how welcoming they can be from start to finish, regardless of circumstances outside their control. That's a real USP, I suppose, that business owners can look at.
And I think the other thing that's really important to recognise is that we are going to have this staycation boom, and it's maybe it's a once in a generation opportunity, and everybody needs to grasp it and make sure that the people that stay this coming summer and into the autumn, that they have a fantastic experience, and that they're going to embed that staycationing habit. You've got this real opportunity to impress. And maybe it'll be first-time staycationers, people that usually holiday abroad, that they're going to stay in the UK, and if they have a great experience, weather permitting, then they're going to come back, and so there is that real opportunity. And again, it's this opportunity to use the lockdown for businesses to really examine their product and their service, how they do things, and make sure when they open that they open stronger than they've ever done before. So I think that's a really important thing to be doing.
And that is such an important message, actually. This isn't just a recovery exercise. This is about actually changing the mindset of a nation who might be used to going on international holidays. We need to change that mindset now to then make sure we have, future years of more staycation booms as well. Yeah, I really like that point.
Yeah, and there's new markets as well to be thinking about. So the evidence is suggesting that millennials are probably going to be the first to come back. I'm not sure, maybe not that many millennials come to Lincolnshire, but there's an opportunity to get them and give them a good time, get them coming back again and looking at what they're looking for. And interestingly, there's also a growing trend for work and leisure trips, with people doing a lot more remote working. So if they can go and stay somewhere that's got great Wi-Fi, they can actually go and do a couple of days work and then perhaps have 2 or 3 days as a break afterwards, maybe with the family. So that's sort of nascent trend to think about. It's a new one that I've picked up on.
That's brilliant, and I think that is something really exciting to look forward to, especially for an area and a place like Lincolnshire that's got that city countryside coast offer. And I suppose also looking at some positives as well, you also identify in your report sort of the development opportunities and activities that are happening across the sector. We're definitely in a sort of like a here and now moment, but you're also identifying that actually some of the bigger developers are very much looking to the future, and there is this appetite for continued investment, isn't there?
Yeah, it's amazing really, on the reports, just the long list that I include of different projects that are coming forward, and there's so much activity and so much interest. I'm noticing a little bit of a slowdown on the hotel side, particularly in cities, but where the real growth is coming forward is in terms of non-serviced accommodation development. So I'm seeing holiday park operators investing huge amounts of money, including in Lincolnshire. Holiday lodge park schemes coming forward, eco lodges, and sort of eco retreats, glamping, and holiday cottages. So all of that type of accommodation, I think there's a lot of interest in that, and strong market demand. So I think good opportunities for a county like Lincolnshire, which has got the fantastic countryside, the outdoor activities. So yeah, it's a real opportunity, I think, for Lincolnshire to capitalise on.
Well, this is
as it is doing that already. I'm seeing things coming through.
I was just going to say, that makes me smile, because we've got 2 projects that we're currently working on at the moment. One is Cycle England, which is all about bookable cycling holidays that we are doing in partnership with Welcome to Yorkshire, who've obviously got a bit of a legacy around cycling holidays. So we're coming to the end of that Discover England funded project, but we have got interest from some partners about developing that further through a Cycle Lincolnshire extension scheme. And then the other thing you mentioned about millennials, we've also got another Discover England funded project which again is coming to the end, which is all about, called England Originals, and it's all about millennials travelling for historic breaks, and Lincoln's included in that historic breaks. So I think, just sort of bringing to a close this discussion, which has been really, really interesting, is we've got to look at the opportunities that are coming through, look at the natural assets we've got here in Lincolnshire, and keep diversifying our product to these new trends that are coming through.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we can get you back
Okay.
for another discussion when your next report comes
Yeah,
through.
pleasure, anytime.
It's been really interesting, and thank you very much for your time.
Okay, pleasure.